My name is Alain Rodriguez, and I will consider myself a Memphian, being here for about 14 years. When somebody asks for a wilderness, I think of being in the wilderness literally when this story came up. But like before I get into that one, I can tell you maybe just really briefly a wilderness story. I think what most people refer to, and just in a few sentences, which is the basis for my wilderness story in the wilderness. I had a family. I lost a family. The Lord asked me to trust Him with the family, that He will restore it. The family was lost, so I was like, "Oh, what? You asked me to trust you? Well, I guess I'll trust you." And and then I asked the Lord, "Where were you?" He told me, basically, I gave him an image of Him being with me, and told me that He loved me. Now, like, step forward to Memphis, and I was doing with my high school friend. We will do trips every once in a while. We'll do just hiking trips in the Smokies. This time, we decided to go to the wilderness of Sangre de Cristo, the Blood of Christ Mountains in Colorado. It was 10-day packing thing, amazing, super heavy packs. Our legs were like could not hold the packs. Maybe day 4 of the hike, we were just decided to get a shortcut and climb this 1,200 footer and slide on the other side. So we did it. We climbed it. You know, snow, peak mountain, beautiful. Very thankful for the creation. And then we decided to slide down, and and my friend had done it before. And so we slid down. We're about 20 minutes of sliding, just full speed, powder in our eyes, and like amazing stuff. You know, I lost my hat there, just sliding down so fast. But we didn't realize that the side of the mountain we decided to slide led to a cliff, and so we thankfully able to stop before we hit the cliff. We couldn't really get down. So at this point, I'm married with my wife. We're expecting our firstborn, you know. And then my friend, we couldn't scale down because it was ice covered rocks. We couldn't rock climb. And we thought by the time we didn't have snowshoes either. So to climb back up about something that we were easily going 30 miles an hour sliding down, to climb that back up will have taken us a lot longer than the time we had to camp. And so we decided to investigate down the waterfall. There was a frozen waterfall. So my friend was going first, he was going down, and I just saw him slide down. Like he slipped and fell like 40 feet, like on his back. Like he had his, we had this heavy pack. He and then he just rolled down, like just nonstop. Felt like he rolled down, like, he did a touchdown rolling down like the hill. And I was like, oh my goodness, I think he's dead. He finally stopped. He got up, waved. I waved, and so I was like, oh, we need to stay together. So I was able to jump down. Maybe I was easily maybe 3 stories. I was able to jump down maybe 1 story without sliding. And I was just talking to the Lord. It's like, Lord, this just can't be this. You told me you will restore this. I'm with my wife. We have a kid, like it's coming. This just cannot be it. This just cannot be it. And so I like throw my pack down, and it just rolls down. Thankfully it stops because my friend smartly didn't try to catch it because we're literally on the cliff. No matter where we are, we're on the cliff of a mountain. He could have rolled down more and like literally fall down even more. I mean, he almost fell to his death that time he fell. There's no reason to fall twice. And so I'm like, maybe, 3 stories looking down. I was like, Lord, there's nothing else. You told me to trust you. I really thought that this, my wife and my kids was the restoration of the family that you promised. And I felt the Lord saying, yes, it is. and I was like, and I'm usually pretty sarcastic, and I feel like the Lord really, I found a side of Him that spoke to me, because He was literally almost saying like, it's just a leap of faith, haha. And like I felt like Him and I just laughed. We're like, oh, why do you have to say that? And it literally, it's like a leap of faith. And I was like, leap of faith? Yeah. It's like, imagine just being in front of somebody and like talking, leap of faith? Yeah. Leap of faith? Yeah. And like, of course, I just stood there for maybe, I don't know, easily another hour, just trying to get the guts to jump. And it's starting to get colder. Like the sun was sitting on that side of the mountain and it melting the ice on the waterfall. And I'm like literally against the wall, and the ice water's coming down my back, and I'm just getting soaked. And it was fine as long as the sun was hitting me. But then the shadow of the mountain was hitting me, and then it got really cold, and I was just shivering. And I was like, I just have to jump, because the longer I'm here, it's just things are just getting worse. So I just jumped. I remember hitting the snow, and next thing I was just covering because there's rocks, rolling down, and I'm like, make it stop, because I just kept rolling. I just thought I was gonna jump and maybe not roll much, but like, and I was just kind of getting mad at the Lord. It's like, make it stop. So I just unroll and just kind of stopped the rolling, and I was just hurting everywhere, and I was like, oh, that hurt, and like blood just came out on the snow, and I was like, oh man, I think I hurt something, and I was like, oh, please, body move. The first thing I thought, which is kind of embarrassing to admit, I was like mad at the Lord because like I lost my glasses, my sunglasses. I was like, oh, this didn't go as nice as it could have gone, and there's blood over here, and I lost my sunglasses. And then of course I move, and like my sunglasses are only 10 feet away, which I'm like, I felt like a little kid yelling at my dad, kind of thing, like, yelling at my father, like my father in heaven, kind of like, I was like, oh, how dare you, little rascal, do that. And but it was just 10 feet away. I was able to get up, and the sunglasses were perfectly fine. I put them on, was able to look at my mouth, and the blood was just my lip. It wasn't like anything terrible. Met my friend. He was like, dude, where were you? You were up there and then you were not. I was like, I jumped, man. like we have to stay together. He's like, oh, I called 911. The Rangers said like, they cannot get to us. If we're fine, we could probably spend this night on the cliff of the mountain. So we did. It kind of held on us that night. We're sleeping like in 30 degrees on rocks and roots, and it's pretty windy. My friend woke up really early. He had been calling the Rangers, and they're like, hey, there's a ridge around it. See if you can get to it. So my friend went and found the ridge, and then we were like, oh, let's go. So we went, but also trying to get out of there was another part. Is the whole time I'm thinking, well, survive the leap of faith, but it's more, we're not out of this. We're still in the cliff of the mountain with hell coming on us, and like, and parts of to get to the ridge, we had to like literally almost like walking on the side of a muddy terrain, like punching our hands into the mud, like, or the rock, the rock dirt, just trying to get in. Of course, I'm still, my equipment is soaked. So like I put plastic bags, my friend had plastic bags, just trying to keep us from getting wet, but it's still, plastic bags doesn't have much insulation. So we're like shivering and like going like this and like putting the feet in the, and then we had to like rock climb at the end, and there's like lightning coming. So we're like, we need to make it out of here. Eventually, like we made it out with the Rangers. We were able to get out another hold of them. Hey, we're over here. We're not. We found a group looking for some lost hunters. Apparently that was us. But the Rangers found us. Like the Rangers said, like, oh, normally we call this not search and rescue, but search and retrieve, because we only are able to retrieve bodies. We don't really rescue people every time we get called. And so it's like, how did you guys make it? So what I think, when I think of that part, I do remember there's a Spanish phrase that says, recordar es vivir, like to remember is to live it. So it really reminds me like his faithfulness. He's in control. He's faithful. He will, literally he will restore. He has a sense of humor. And he's got more. The leap of faith was just the beginning of it. We still had like to sleep that night, to hike out, and to go through the hell, and and avoid a lightning storm. And so it's just, but he's faithful no matter what.